I'm thinking we could see a scenario like this over the coming months. Drop to $44,000 per Bitcoin, where all your altcoins and all your memes are going to zero. Bitcoin, I have this feeling that a teardrop event is coming very, very soon. Feedback welcomed. Bitcoin to $40,000. 343,000 views. Some of the smarter people in crypto: Vitalik, girlfriend, occasional talks, retired, led for longevity, left, cashed out, partying, left, occasional KOL deal. Memes are done. VC coins are done. Bitcoin about to crash because monkeypox global health emergency declared by World Health Organization. Recession starts in 2025-2026. War in Ukraine and Middle East. BlackRock and Wall Street buy too much Bitcoin and it is no longer decentralized and for the people. Inflation is creeping back. Unemployment rate is on the rise. AI stock overvalued like Nvidia. $3 trillion company will pull down S&P 500 if it corrects. Warren Buffett holds $277 billion USD in cash and sold 50% of his Apple stake. Not financial advice. Happy weekend. 122,000 views. You probably feel the same. Today I will actually respond to this question and I will tell you whether or not we will be seeing a crash in Bitcoin market. We will analyze the sentiment. We will analyze the fundamentals. We will analyze what will happen on the market. We will also do a comparison with the COVID dump, not just checking out the chart, but I will also refresh the memory of the sentiment that was here. But I will also refresh the sentiment that was here during that time. And I will also tell you, are meme coins actually dead? What market makers that are controlling this market are doing? Maybe they're not buying discounted altcoins from funds to short and dump them along with exchanges. Maybe it's not happening, right? Maybe they are buying out bags of altcoins and not planning to do anything with the memes. We will find out the answers to these questions today. Let's start. First of all, analyze it as sentiment. We see a bunch of views on the posts like this. We see a bunch of people flipping. Honestly, it's quite bullish, right? We need something like this happening. And it's not just the sentiment. I'm seeing this on the chart. With the slightest drop, a recent drop from 61k BTC to 58k BTC, only $3,000 in Bitcoin dropped a range of meme coins heavily because people were essentially buying the fear, and on the bounce they were selling, expecting the price movement to go lower as well. Market participants are comparing the current situation with the COVID drop. We do have certain similarities. We did have large liquidation events. This liquidation event was similar to COVID dump. This one was the second largest since the FTX. This one was large as well. We definitely went through a range of long liquidation events, and at the same time the market is still quite bullish. The market still thinks that we're essentially in this corrective formation, corrective channel, that it should be stopping at a certain point of time and we should be reversing, right? And this is something what a lot of market participants are actually thinking at this stage. If you would talk to seasoned people who've been in the market for quite some time, all they're saying is, well, bull run didn't start yet, it will continue, there should be a drop in Bitcoin dominance, alts they didn't pump, yeah, we are correcting, but it should be right, it should be better quite soon. And when I hear that my opinion is being copied and being agreed upon amongst a range of market participants, I become afraid like shit. At the same time, we do start to see a bunch of people flipping bearish, bunch of people talking about 40k, the same way they were talking about 40k. Right here, they were talking about $40,000. We'll see if this will be happening. Similarities that I wanted to focus on with the COVID situation, right? What was happening here? I was saying in the previous videos that COVID was essentially a very, very quick drop and things like that, but in reality, it was not. The market was correcting since June till March of 2020. So for a good half a year, it actually was correcting. And all time through all these corrective channel, retail was actually buying into alts, right? People were thinking, well, we're getting better prices and things like that. People were opening long positions and essentially increasing the long positions. Right here, right here, right here, right? And then we had pump. And people got the confirmation bias. I was right, I bought, it's nice. I'm not taking profits for my loans. These are probably the loans I can actually leave till the end of the bull market, which is the thing that you get in the largest ROI on, right? And then this dump happened. Bunch of people sold all of the alts, they just went to zero. Loans got liquidated as well. And we see a steady uptrend right after it, steady uptrend of the market. You know what happened? No one cared. At that point of time in the market, no one already cared. Most people got liquidated. They thought nothing is happening. They were not buying in. No one cared. And I do feel that we are quite close to this situation currently as well. We are quite close to the point of time where people just don't care. A lot of things are showing that interest to the space, views on different media channels and things like that, and essentially how memes behave as well, because memes, they're like the heart of the market and they're being sold on each and every pump, which means that people don't want to hold, people expect lower price action, people expect us to go lower, therefore they're essentially hedging the risks, they're taking profits, and they are leaving the market as well. And some people are speaking about the shift to quality, shift to utility, right? I wanted to discuss this part as well. So there are some interviews from the market makers that you can't see, unfortunately, because they're in different language, right? But I can share some of them. What was happening with the alts for all this time? What they were doing, what the market makers were doing along with the VC funds and all the things that were happening. There is certain locked supply with vesting, right? That market makers were buying out of VCs with huge discounts, because some VCs, they're essentially scared, such as us. Some VCs, they're in different situations, like market makers, they're working business, they're generating profits, they're generating revenue, market is moving, they're fine, right? Some VCs, they're just regular people. They freezed some money, and for some reason, they might need money right now. So what they were doing, they were selling their vesting allocations at crazy discounts to the market makers. 60%. I know this number, 60%, 40%, numbers like this. This is the price that market makers were buying their altcoins from VCs. Can you get these prices from the market? No, you can't. These are private OTC deals. What then they were doing? They were dumping the supply and shorting along with exchanges, along with SEXs as well. And the main reason for that is because SEX, essentially, they receive a bunch of the supply of the token when the token is listed on the exchange, because this is a requirement to be able to market make on the exchange and to provide liquidity, right? To make sure that there would be enough liquidity on the exchange to do necessary trade, to exploit perpetuals if needed as well. Market makers and SEXs were dumping the altcoins that they either had from listings of these projects, right? Or that they bought with huge discounts, OTC from VCs. This is what was happening, and this is what is still happening. The question that you should ask yourself, knowing this information, why this is happening? Will alts actually eventually move and outperform if this is the situation that's happening? Why? Because if you have this mindset that altcoins will eventually pump and things like that, and we will see a giant manipulation, if we are to see that, what should be happening is that these market makers actually accumulating positions in the alts in order to pump them moving further. They should not be dumping them with huge discounts and just shorting them at the same time. This is not the behavior that you essentially implement, that you execute when you want to pump something moving further. At the same time, we see a bunch of market makers actually entering Memecoins. We saw Wintermute with success of Pepe. After Pepe, they added into Ponky, into Apple, I think, into Cock as well on Avex. They added into a range of Memecoins. We see Godbit that pushed Bonk and were in a bunch of Sol Memecoins, right? We also see DWF Labs, and they're pretty public about memes that they're getting into. We see a range of certain indexes coming from Memecoins. It almost feels like what is happening is that they are gathering liquidity from all their assets on the market. Some of the alts, they will still pump closer to the end of the cycle, but they will heavily underperform altcoins. And it's essentially, this video is very, very valuable, right? But the amount of people that will watch this video is very, very low at this stage. The thing that you need to understand is that memes are new alts. The thing you need to understand is that when you are trying to make money in the market, the same way that people were making money in the last 2 cycles, sometimes it just does not work. It's exactly the same thing. Me personally, like my largest mistake in this cycle was also in the bear market, buying the alts from previous cycle. I was not researching new alts and I was not researching new projects, only a small bit of them, right? Just randomly. But I was not buying a lot of alts, a lot of new alts in the bear market. I was buying old stuff, and old stuff underperformed new alts heavily. And meme coins are your new alts. So the only thing that's happening is exactly healthy for the marketplace. We essentially, what we see, we're seeing new alts outperforming old alts. It's just that the psyop that we have is that old alts are altcoins with the fundamentals and new alts are meme coins. And a lot of people have this psyop to alts. To meme coins, I'm sorry. Understand, if you have a psyop, if you have this neglect to meme coins, that's the same type of neglect that Bitcoin maxis or Ethereum maxis had to altcoins in the previous cycle. Understand that you are the same people, and the cost for this negligence is underperformance. The cost is profit. The cost is not you making money in this market because you think it's risky, because you think you're a pussy, and things like that, right? It's very, very important to understand. The thing that is happening is exactly similar to the previous cycle. We just have this nicely crafted psyop that new alts, they're not called new alts, they are called meme coins. And people, they tend to neglect meme coins, right? And they tend to underperform as well. This is the key to underperformance in this cycle. Buy fundamental altcoins, especially older ones, right? The only reason that things like AI and gaming, they showed something is because they're meme coins in the first place. They're just better meme coins than most of the fundamental plays out there. Something I was sharing in my Discord and something I wanted to share as well. Peak boredom in the market. Usually this is what happens before big moves. My bet is a big move up. Why? Quantitative easing, money printing, starts September. Partially started already. Shared by me in December that quantitative easing will start in September. December of 2023, I shared already, based on projections of certain analysts and based on how I was planning the market to play out for 2024, that quantitative easing will start in September. This is exactly what is happening currently, partially started already. 3 to 4 potential rate cuts before end of year. That's like at least might be short-term bearish, right? But long-term very bullish with people looking to outperform with cheaper money, favorable environment for risk assets. The overview that a lot of people are seeing is that we would essentially dump a bit in the expectation of the rate cut in September because short-term rate cuts are essentially bearish, right? And then market will start front run, money getting cheaper, and market will start the front run of interest rates getting decreased and getting lower heavily in a short period of time. In like getting heavily lower in a short period of time, something that was not essentially happening before, right? We are at the peak of rate cut cycle, right before the drop. It's literally silence before a storm. Very, very important to understand. Imagine this as a chart, rate cuts. We are at the peak, we are at the local top of rate cuts, and this is a very, very large and significant local top as well. Underperformance of most crypto assets in comparison with stock market. Something I was sharing in one of the videos before, that stocks, they not outperformed like all of crypto essentially, right? Because 4x on Ethereum, it's still nice. Like you obviously were able to make more money if you were buying Nvidia, but it's kind of hard to just focus on Nvidia, just buy Nvidia and just hold Nvidia, right? And this is something we pretty much have to understand, that in expectation of how crypto usually outperforms stocks, it underperformed. That's very, very important. In expectation. Views plus other metrics showing interest of market participants to the content. Lowest other channels as well. 6 months plus of shittery price action. A lot of people left, sold, will be coming back on FOMO. And it's very, very important that through the reversal, what should be happening is that people should not care. We should start to move up. People should not care. This would be the healthiest sign out there, because this is something that was happening when COVID dump was reversing. People were not caring because they were exhausted. They've seen 6 months of downwards chop price side action, and on top of that they seen a huge dump at the end. And the main reason is whether or not we will actually be getting a huge dump. And I will talk on this as well, because these guys that are sharing 40k charts, they are sharing this huge dump on all of them, right? So essentially what they expect, quick huge dump, right? Similar to COVID dump. We will talk about this. Price action wise, similar, right? Very similar situation to how BTC ETF was playing out. That 2-3 weeks of bottom were fucking boring as well and scary. I remember this vividly. Back in January till start of February was not good. Prepare, gentlemen, they can't fuck us left and right with a price action like that forever. Coming back to our 40k mark, right? So they're all sharing this 40k and they're all sharing this a very fast, very quick manner, right? First of all, when price action like this essentially happens, we have to understand, like they have to explain it to people, right? They can't just not drop the chart by itself. At the same time, what's interesting is that technically charts, they almost like, it's like huge obviosity at this stage in the charts, and this obviosity tells that we are going to 62 and 63 and then we are going significantly lower. This is what technically obviously is being read in the charts currently, in the chart of BTC specifically. This is what is technically obviously being seen, and oftentimes they are essentially just showing you something in a very, very simple and vivid way to essentially manipulate you. But the simplest thing, and I think one of the reasons of why these people are sharing this thing, is because technically this is what is shown in the charts currently. We go to 62, 63 next week, and then we're essentially going lower, right? Speaking about 40k, there is a possibility of monkeypox and essentially the pandemic 2.0 with the lockups and things like that. Whether or not they will introduce this type of option, not sure. This is essentially speculation at this stage. My bet is they won't. But I was sharing some thoughts that it seems like deep state is being controlled by some people that are new to the job at this stage. Like we see a lot of incompetence, we see a lot of like they're trying to repeat things left and right to see and figure out whether or not they will essentially play out, to work out. We will see like what will be happening with this part. And we have a very, very negative type of world situation currently, like this type of news, monkeypox, this chart and things like that. What we have to understand is that these things, they are very, very seldom to come out at the tops, at the local tops. At the local tops, we had Trump speaking, we had Russia accepting crypto for foreign payments, we had a bunch of stuff, right? Right now, obviously, we have some negative things, and these are the things that are usually happening on the bottoms. And one of the main things in all these manipulation and the thing is happening, I do think that it will heavily depend on how current market participants are behaving. To be honest, I do see a lot of stuff being oversold at this stage. On the range of alts, we are actually at the bottoms at the prices that we've seen last year on the range of alts out there. Even like your Sui at this stage, despite it did like a 2x, it's like 0.7 and 0.8 currently. This is something that we've seen in maybe like October, right? And we were at 0.4 just recently. Will they give 0.4 prices? Again, they might, because when Sui was 0.4 last year, exactly like the same time as currently, the market cap was at least 2.53 times lower than currently. So the price might be the same, but the market cap would be 2.5 times larger. And the main reason for that is because they are selling their allocations to market makers that they dump and they short at the same time. We all should understand this as well. Coming back to our sentiment, what is the reason for them to drop? The reason for them to drop is essentially make sure to liquidate all the late longs, all the leverage, just remove it from the marketplace. The question I think you should ask, are there any leverage loans at this stage opened in large positions from like a large portion of people? Are there people essentially still bullish? Are the people actively buying the current dip? Because we're definitely in a dip on the memes, on alts and things like that. I won't say so. I would say that people who are buying currently, those are smart people with capital They definitely know what are they doing better than people out there. And maybe there are some people protecting and then taking profits and leaving, right? But what's important, what's interesting, something that I wanted to share as well, is that situation is quite similar currently with the COVID dump as well. Because retail, regular market participants, what were they doing through all this time? They were buying alts. They were buying alts, and most of retail in this dip, they don't have cash. They are allocated 100% into the market as well. A lot of influencers are allocated 100% into the market as well. And if we would be seeing like a large dip, which can send prices in certain alts even lower than they were here, even lower, or at least just see the same bottom for alts, right? They won't have large capital to actually enter. So they might be able to provide this drop just for the whales that miss this pump, or people to transition from stock profits into crypto, right? So they can buy cheap. Like this is a scenario that might be happening. The reason I'm showing you COVID part is because the same thing was happening right here. Through all this dip, retail was actually buying. Somewhere right here, it was out of the money. Zero already. Out of like a large amount of capital, like maybe some spare change was invested into the market, but most people were fully in the market already. Here we are pumping, hooray, finally, and then dump. All the loans are liquidated, most of the stuff is sold because panic here, like people were not thinking about the markets, they did not care. The event was such of focus of energy consumption that people were just focused on the event. Like I was speaking with some people who were actively buying stuff, but it was not like a big amount of people at that time. Like most people, they were kind of in this situation, like what's happening is the end of the world and things like that. Will they create the situation of the same manner right here? I don't think that essentially the brain of the world currently is a bit more fractionalized. Like even if we will enter some type of a large event, people are that bored that they will switch to something else very, very soon, very, very quickly. This is something that Trump assassination attempt actually showed us as well. 2 weeks, no one cares already. Like it didn't happen. Like it's some type of science fiction in our brains, right? It's very, very interesting what is happening with this situation, right? And personally, the thoughts that I have, like, well, this meme coin on the market, man, because I have some cash to enter into the market, right? I'm thinking, man, this meme, if it will just go a bit down, if we'll have this drop, I will buy like a nice chunk of it. I will buy. And probably a range of people have same type of thoughts at this stage. We are going lower, very juicy prices. It would be stupid not to buy. They will be buying. During the times like these, we usually see the reversal. Right now, this drop to 40K is too obvious. At the same time, it would completely refresh the sentiment on the market. However, I do think at the same time, there are a bunch of people with stable coins ready to buy the tips out there, which means that manipulator should not be given provided tips, because the goal of the manipulator to make sure that the largest amount of people won't be able to make money in the market. So to finalize the whole thing, we compared the current situation with the COVID setup. We went through the bullish fundamentals, things that are happening in the marketplace, and in terms of the election, in terms of the year that's happening currently. We went through the sentiment. We went through how much negative sentiment is actually getting attention on the marketplace. It's very, very important as well. Like how people are interested in negative sentiment. We went through not just the sentiment, but the actions of people in the marketplace that are selling stuff heavily on pumps, expecting the lower price action continuation. To my point of view, these are the signs for the reversal. It's hard to provide any timings currently, as I essentially thought that from here we'll be able to move up. I was wrong on these things. Right now, I am essentially just waiting, accumulating cheap assets. And as mentioned, if we drop more, I will add more cash into the market. This is my overview. This is my setup. I honestly don't think that the COVID 2.0 is coming, simply speaking, because too many people expect it. Too many people expect 40K as well. And I tend to think they are exercising actions with the money based on this expectation as well. It's not that they are just expecting, they are exercising actions based on these expectations as well. I do think it's the time to accumulate the things that will survive, that will be doing just well, just fine. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.